My name is Rabbi Weinberg. I
Mhm.
live in Tzfat, and I'm from Kansas City.
What makes you happy?
I think happiness, what makes me happy, I think it's personal connection. Love, that's what makes me happy. Happiness is an interesting thing because it's kind of a lot of times we associate it to pleasure. We all feel good from connection. I think that obviously helping somebody makes me feel good. And the study of Chassidus makes me happy. I do some writing and teaching. And then it's interesting because it also says that constant pleasure ceases to be pleasurable. There's certain things that make us happy, but we may forget. People that you love, let's say your wife, your children, you may even start taking for granted, but how do you know that it makes you happy? Is if you don't have that in your life, you'll realize that, wow. And so that if you actually think about it, there are thousands of things that make us happy, but we don't realize, like sunshine, fresh weather. We just take it all for granted. And that's really what Judaism is all about. It's about saying thank you to Hashem on a consistent basis, so that way we remember to be grateful. It's that consistency of making the time to be grateful that will keep you happy. Because many people have many blessings in their life. The curse of prosperity can be depression. It's not because you have less, but you realize less what you have. So when a person makes that time, it's like when you take a bite of food, you say thank you. You wake up in the morning, you say thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Because the ideal situation is that you have the blessings, but you feel blessed from having the blessings only if you actually say a blessing for it. If you say thank you for it. The ego part in us always obviously doesn't want to lose and wants to gain, but no matter what you gain, unless you actually express gratitude for it, it won't make a difference because after a bit, you'll become used to it. I have a website, KabbalahLove.org. You can download my book and my course. The things I teach is that the first thought of the day becomes your train of thought. Actually, I'll tell you a little bit more on happiness. You can train your thought. It's very, very important for people that want to be happy. Is the first thing you do in the morning is you thank God for what you have, because that's going to set the tone of your thinking. Another thing that's very important for happiness is purpose in life. A lot of people are missing a sense that my life is meaningful. This is when people say, Rabbi, how do you become happy? I say, well, it's simple. You just do good and you'll feel good. So a person that's not doing good doesn't feel like their life has meaning. You can have pleasure, but the pleasure won't make you happy. One of the great teachings of Baal Shem Tov is if you can find the good in the bad will turn to good. And so if you actually do that and you don't dwell on the negative and you just keep on, that's like the whole thing of davening. You just reconnect to God, reconnect to faith. If you reconnect to that positive space, another thing that I think is super important for happiness is a critical factor is actually believing that the Messiah will come, that we're going to get into a good world. Because you could have all of those, but if you think that you're going to be hit by a nuclear disaster, you're not going to be happy. So it's a profound tool that God has given us, the belief that one day everything's going to switch. He's going to miraculously resurrect the dead. The Holy Temple will come down from the sky. Clouds are going to bring the Jewish people back. It's going to be a world of peace and love and unity and infinite abundance. So having that belief, that hope, really, that's what it is. It's hope.
Who's influenced you the most in your life?
Yeah,
Or if you'd
I'm
like to
just
share
thinking about
anything
it.
else.
Yeah, I mean, I've actually been influenced a lot by my wife. Men often have more of what we would call chachma, like a periphery, and chachma is like kind of insight. A lot of most inventors come from men, like we're like creative, but women often have the talent of bina, which is like focused. So men and women can benefit from each other in that way. That a man can bring a lot of the joy of creativity, and a woman can bring some of that positive, like that focus of application.
What's one piece of advice that you received that really has got you through a lot in your life?
Oh, that's a good question. I think what I mentioned, which is finding the good in the bad, is really powerful because a lot of us get stuck in the bad. But if you can see the good in the bad, according to Kabbalah and Chassidus, everything is really energy, and then you can shift that energy. That very bad thing can become a good thing. So finding the good in the bad will really make a change.
What's something that you stressed about maybe early on in your life or even a year ago that you realized, you know what, doesn't really matter?
Doesn't really matter.
Or
It didn't matter
or
at the
it didn't
time.
matter. Right?
Right. Let's see. What did I
We
I
can
guess
move
we
on.
stress about relationships sometimes and it bounces back.
Sure.
I think that
You mentioned that your wife has influenced you the most. What are important things for a marriage? Advice for somebody who's currently in a marriage, looking to get married?
well, I think there's three pieces of advice that really matter in marriage. And the first is that you have to look at it from a spiritual perspective. So you have to look at it on a deeper level that this is really the other half of my soul that I've united with. And then the other thing that's really important in marriage is our expectations have been really corrupted through the media. where we think that marriage is happily ever after. Nobody in the human history thought marriage was like this romantic bliss. Marriage is hard work. Marriage is compromise. Marriage is doing things for the other person and also being aware of what is important to the other person. Because often two people come to marriage with their own set of needs. They're not necessarily looking at what is the other person. I'm a mediator, and one of the things that's very important in marriage is to sit down and actually discuss it or write it down. Like, what do you want? What do you want? You have to get to the bottom of it, because you can live a long time with somebody and not really know what their core desires, especially women. Men, I think, would be more expressive, but women often, whenever you have a giver, taker, receiver role, the receiver is usually a little bit more silent about their needs. And often women want men to know what they want, but the men don't know what they want. And often men are very happy to provide it if they knew, but women are too afraid to say it because they don't want to have the rejection of that deepest need not met. So it's almost that they're not going to say it just in order to not disappoint themselves. But meanwhile, you're much more likely to get it if you actually say it. And with the idea that ultimately marriage is give and take, you can only expect the relationship to work if both people are contributing. So I don't like this idea of marriage is 100%, 100%. We're not angels. No one's an angel. But it's 50% and 50%. You have to be willing to give 50% and receive 50%. And if we just lowered our expectations from that 100 to 50-50, then I think we'd be okay. And the third thing about marriage is to realize that it's not only about us, it's also, please God, about having children, about making a home for other people. It's about you're a unit, which is the sum is greater than its whole. And if you can realize that, then you step into, it's like you're working for a company, you realize, oh, you're bigger than just me in this thing. There's like a bigger picture here. The marriage is part of this bigger picture. You are a unit, and as a unit, two of you can affect people much more than as you could as individuals.
Do you have a fear?
Do I have a fear? I'm fearless. Do I have a fear? Sure, I have fears. Certainly, I have fears. I have financial fears. Sometimes the bank account's better than other times, but you got to pay your bills. Life is not a smooth sailing. You have to do the inner work. You have to do the outer work. You have to do what you got to do.
Yeah.
It's like, it's part of our problem is that we're all expecting like a smooth ride. But
Are we?
I shouldn't say all, but I think a lot of people, the more comfortable you grow up, the more comfort you would think that the ride should be, unless maybe your role models were hard workers and they didn't. So it depends a lot on your background, your role models, your circumstances. As long as your expectations are more aligned with reality, you're probably going to be better off.
When people think of you, what's something that you want people to understand about you or think of you? Like,
what's my purpose? What's important to do? There's a big part of life is overcoming how people think about me. So being able to like say, okay, well, this is what I need to do, and this is what I'm going to do. A healthy person obviously is not, psychopathic, which they don't care at all what people think. The primary thing that we should really be focused on is like implementing my vision, and you have to really have. My grandmother once came to the Rebbe and she was in a wheelchair. So he said, why are you in a wheelchair? So she said that because the doctor said I have to take iron. So the Rebbe said, you know why you need iron? Because when you work with people, you have to have nerves of steel. So the point is that we have to develop within ourselves a certain ability to say, this is the path I'm choosing. Obviously, not narcissistically, but with conviction. This is what's right, and this is what I'm going to do. And if you think about Avraham Avinu, everybody who ever did anything had to do that. So doing that is very important. And life is always fluctuating. That's also a very big thing. It's like when we expect to reach a point of safety, reach a point of happiness. Life is always fluctuating, circumstances, people. So it's much more about reaching the point in which I say that life is actually a process. And it's a process of learning how to navigate life. And the more you're in it, the more you learn. And the more you learn, the better you can navigate. The better you can navigate, the deeper secrets will come to you on the more nuanced navigation. So it's like anybody that's learning literally to navigate a ship. So you get a little bit good, the better you get. That's really what life is. Life is our journey with God, our experiences. Everything's been set up to teach us how to navigate it and to be really the best kind of captain of our ship possible, hopefully making our life and other people's lives a little bit nicer and better. What am I most proud of? Well, probably my kids. I think my kids. I'm most proud of my kids. Yeah. It says that basically the heart has no limit on its love. You could have 10 kids, you'll love them all the same, you know? It's just this profound love that you have. Thank God if your kids are good people and you can be proud of them. That's a real nachas. But in terms of my life, I mean, I think that I'm proud of the Chassidus that I've taught, proud of the charity that I've given, maybe the help that I've done. Thanks for interviewing me. So my book is Kabbalah Love. You can get that on Amazon, and you can go to KabbalahLove.org.